Hi, everybody. It's Mike Messier, your buddy Mike Messier. And I was requested by Frank in a group on Facebook called O.W.N. And it's a pro wrestling based group. And this video, Frank requested that I do a live stream on Thursday night. Now, unfortunately, for whatever reason, technically I'm having a little trouble doing a live stream. So what I'm going to do is this YouTube live video and then share it with the fine fellows at O.W.N. But if you're not in the O.W.N. and you happen to be a wrestling fan, Frank's running a really cool group. So, Frank apparently welcomes everybody. He's even got me in the group. Now, I know that my political stand on this WWE Saudi Arabia show, it's kind of been discussed ad nauseum. More people are hopping in on the conversation. It's getting a little bit heated. There are some very treacherous world events going on right now that escalate this thing. And I think when people wonder why Mike Messier, why I, and maybe Frank and others get upset about this type of thing, because when we remember our childhood with wrestling, these international concerns or these other countries and money and so forth wasn't such a big deal. And you talk about the death of the territory system in pro wrestling, which is kind of to make a comparison to non wrestling people, kind of like when the local mom and pop shop got bought out by Kmart, and then Kmart got swallowed by Walmart, or when the local video store, VHS video or Beta and VHS store got bought out by um, your video chain like Blockbuster or Hollywood Video, and then they got bought out by Netflix or destroyed. However you want to put it, it's kind of like when you see a chunk of your childhood commercialized or whatever, sold to the highest bidder. For wrestling fans right now, a lot of us are kind of experiencing this reality, this wake up call that the number one, World Wrestling Entertainment, at least in the United States, the most profitable pro wrestling organization by far, has kind of put itself on the highest bidding block. And the highest bidder happens to be a prince from a foreign country, and some of those um, policies in that foreign country are not exactly to what Americans are used to be polite about it. Namely, um, ethical things in regards to how women are treated and how homosexuality is viewed. So when wrestling fans get upset about this, and other wrestling fans just shrug it off and say, well, it's just about the money, it doesn't matter. That rubs some people like myself the wrong way. And I think it rubs Frank the wrong way. And people like Wade Keller and Dave Meltzer have also spoken up about it. But, and Vince Russo had me on his show to discuss it. But, and Bin Hameen's discussed it, Jeremy Grubb, JG is Heat, Cole Sharf, all these people are discussing these issues. But are these issues going to change? If they're not going to change, then it's up to the individual to make a choice. Do you stop watching WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment? Because you can no longer watch the wrestling company that you've loved for so long as a child into adulthood, knowing that their political repercussions are such that they are, and people might laugh or think who gives a shit, but it is something that people do care about, believe it or not. It's kind of like if you were a big Star Wars fan and you found out that Star Wars money goes into some type of political movement or society that you don't agree with. I'm not saying that's true. I'm saying that's a hypothetical comparison. Now, why some people, if they're watching this and aren't wrestling fans, they just laugh at it or think it's all silly nonsense. But as a kid, and I guess I'll get a little, not to get vulnerable. I hate that fucking word. Everyone has to get vulnerable. But just to share, did I have the greatest childhood? No. Did I have the worst childhood? No. Like a lot of people, somewhere in between. But in my childhood, pro wrestling was the escape. For me, that was the comic book world, or that was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or Star Wars. Like a lot of kids have something that they're into. If a kid plays a sport or plays a musical instrument, they're into that thing. For me, it was wrestling, and I even stopped, reading comic books at a young age because I got more into wrestling magazines. My mom, to give her credit, encouraged me to read the wrestling books and the magazines because she just wanted me to read something, and was just happy I was reading a book. So I want to share with everyone probably the first wrestling book I ever had, and I think this is the original copy that to give her credit, my mom Phyllis Messier, the pictorial history of wrestling, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Burt Randolph Sugar, um, trying to do the proper, and George Napolitano, and we're going to take a look at some of the pictures in this book. So Wahoo McDaniel, man. You know what I mean? It says rotate device. I don't know what the hell that means. I don't know. It says rotate device, but Wahoo McDaniel, Tully Blanchard. You see some Rick Martel. Okay. Burt Randolph Sugar, most people associate with boxing. He's that guy with the hat and the cigar. Mil Mascaras. And as a kid, I mean, can you imagine being a young kid and getting this book? And this is pre-WrestleMania days, folks. This is some hardcore shit. I mean, maybe it was right when WrestleMania 1 was happening. Dusty Rhodes with this headband thing. I remember looking at that picture and wondering what the hell was on his head. And a lot of these wrestlers I had never seen on TV before. Getting this book. Tito Santana. Okay. Now this guy I was familiar with, Chief Jay Strongbow. Jules Strongbow. Here we go. Now we get into the bloody red. And so, now, I don't know what people think when they see a book like this, but, to Hulk Hogan in Japan, okay? I don't know if people can see, that this book, Kerry Von Erich, winning that championship for his deceased brother. What a story. May 6, 1984. It's just one of these deals where, everyone's going to think that they're wrestling, a friend of mine said this, a friend of mine said that everybody's going to think their wrestling generation was better than everybody else's, but, I don't know, man. I think it's hard to really beat this era of, 1981, say to 86. Big John Studd. Here's Captain Lou and the Samoans. But I mean, this is real deal stuff, folks. This is not a joke. Buzz Sawyer, man. That's how I got my nickname. First of all, Big John Studd from Burke, Virginia. My hometown. Buzz Sawyer is who I got my nickname from. Mad Dog. Little known fact. And this is the real deal. The sheep herders. Not when they're the fucking bushwhackers, like a couple of clowns. But when they're the real deal wild Samoans. Killer Kowalski. Now people know that he trained, Triple H. Go back to me. And so, this is the genuine thing, folks. So when you're talking about wrestling fans, and you wonder why this passion happens, it's usually because we got infected as a child, that we got kind of brought into this world of wrestling. And, I've had a few matches. I don't talk about it much, but whether you've wrestled or you've done ring announcing or commentary or applied for the WWE as a creative writer, all those things that I've done, or not, or simply a fan or doing a podcast or not, you can see why this affects people. Now, to the wrestler's credit, and I just want to show this picture of Napolitano. That's one of the co-writers, and I guess they don't have Burt Sugar in here for whatever reason. It's Napolitano with fucking Hogan. I guess, fans, and this is and what a way to end a book. Look at this. It's fucking Madison Square Garden, Dusty Rhodes noosing the hell out of superstar Billy Graham. When people, and as a wrestling fan, I remember as a wrestling fan, as a child, as a youth, kind of having to defend wrestling. Look at that, Ric Flair. And I guess what angers me about the WWE and their policies right now, and the feeling that, okay, if the Prince wants Shawn Michaels will be there for him. If he wants Undertaker, he'll be there for him. It's that feeling that this company, this American-based company, is organizing their presentation to acquiesce to their highest bidder. And it just rubs me the wrong way. And if other people can't understand that, or if it doesn't bother them, then I guess we're just living in two different fucking mindsets or worlds. And it's not about being the ugly American or any bullshit like that. It's about having a little bit of self-respect and pride. And if Shawn Michaels gets $2 million or $11 million, or to go back on his word that he'd never wrestle again, and just flop around like a fish for 5 minutes and hold the tag rope, then fine. He's got to do what's best for him. But for me, it's kind of a wake-up call that maybe this pro wrestling, it's gone, it's lost its way. That's the best way I can put it. That pro wrestling has lost its way. And, some people might counter with, okay, well, that's just the WWE. You always have the independent scene. Okay, what am I going to watch there? Joey Ryan, people grabbing Joey Ryan's penis and flopping around like a fish, like Mick Foley. The Thumb in the Ass 10, the Tight of 10, I haven't forgotten about those guys. Guys in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, have their yearly Thumb in the Ass wrestling match. I mean, so when people say, why are you so upset? Why are you taking this so seriously? It's because this was my escapism. This, my friends, was my fucking escapism. And yeah, I know that there were, and I like to cover both sides of the fucking argument. You can say, well, look at the guys here. You got Snuka, who died, while on trial for a murder case, like a 30-year-old murder case. You got Hogan, always a racist, and you got Flair, who I guess you can say has alcohol problems, but for me, maybe that naivete of a childhood, not knowing all this stuff about this behind the scenes things, lent itself to me being more of a wrestling fan. As I get older, as I know, it really is a deal where, like, the more you know about something, the less you like it. Because, and I have this same thing with, like, a lot of groups. Like, even I'll get hardcore on you guys. Church. Like, I'll go to church for a while, but when, people start inviting you to those meetings or those committees, and you start hearing the fucking bickering behind the scenes, or that's why I never joined a fraternity, because they all wanted me. They all wanted the funny guy, the big funny guy. But I didn't want to be taking sides or stuff like that. And I didn't want to buy my friends or whack each other with a paddle. But whenever you have a group, that you have to pay dues and you have to have meetings and votes, that's why I stick to myself. It's one person I can trust. So we're talking big money. We're talking all these egos. And so I guess the point of this video is, why does it matter to me if WWE specifically goes down this path? First of all, WWE was not my favorite. That was Jim Crockett Promotions, UWF, World Class. But all those promotions, one way or another, are not here anymore. So all we have left is WWE from that old school. If these other promotions, the Plastic Doll promotion and the Thumb in the Ass group and the All In with their, so forth, that's fine. Maybe, like Frank said himself in the O.W.N group, maybe we're outgrowing wrestling, or it's left us behind. In any event, this video is hitting the 14-minute mark. I'm getting to that same angry, pissed off state I was trying to avoid. I was trying to share with you this magnificent book. But if people, get it or they don't, that's fine. I'm trying to share with you why wrestling meant so much to me and where I think it's gone wrong. And maybe it's just money. Money just corrupts and ruins everything. And if these wrestlers, if you showed this book to, the Thumb in the Ass wrestlers or the fucking Plastic Doll wrestlers, do you think they would have a fucking appreciation like I do for these photographs? Probably not. They probably just want to sell you their fucking t-shirt. So that's Mike Messier of MikeMessier.com. Thursday night, the Throwback, Mike Messier. Check out MikeMessier.com and subscribe and all that bullshit. Check out my IMDb page and support all things me. Bye.